Kind of promised you some demonstrations on how to cut back on a mugo pine. So here we have the growth of about 3 years from this joint right here, where we've got 2 branches plus a terminal coming out. You notice here, this is a growth from last year. This growth right here, and then right here is what was produced this year. What we do with this guy is we go back to this point right above where it started this this last spring, and we cut it. And we can do that with the whole branch. See, we can approach from underneath if it's easier for you to see it. That's last year's growth. This is this spring's growth. That's gone. This is last year's growth under here. This year's growth. It's gone. You can do that all the way around the tree. See, these are 3-year-old needles that are coming off. But we can do that all around the tree. This is pretty easy to see. Last year's growth. This year's growth. It's gone. Last year's, this year's. This is last year's, this year's. Now, I've said in my descriptions to remove the underside needles. You can do that either before or after you cut. Sometimes you get a lot better response because you get more light in to the subject. Come on, camera. There we go. This is hard to do when you're doing it by yourself. Cut the upper growing needles. See if I can do a couple more of these so you got the idea. This is the way it looks after you cut it. Cut that which is growing on the top. Now, I cut them rather than pull them because pulling them actually damages the bark, and if it happens to have a bud that it throws, you can always clip that off later. Last year's, this year's. Birds are having a nest out here, and they don't like me being out here. So, if you see one coming across the screen, you know what's going on. See, this technique is based on being able to discern the difference between this year's and last year's growth. Most of the time, I don't find that a problem. And probably it's because I've been doing this for so long, but anyway, let's do it again. Here's last year's growth. And usually the current year is followed by a stem of some sort. In the case with a lot of these, what happened this spring is this tree threw a lot of male cones, pollen cones. Let's change angles on this one. Three-year-old needles going bye-bye. Sometimes they'll hold on to them. You notice too, sometimes these needles will get longer with age. The longer they stay on there. Usually they don't last that long. Usually they're gone by this point. Okay. Sorry for the sloppy camera work, folks. Okay, this is going to be the last one of these we're going to do for now. Last year's needles. Actually, there's two groups here. Might even be three. Anyway, we're going to take it back to here. I hope that helps you. We'll continue this later. I'm going to style this tree.